Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about tips and tricks in Boros Energy in Modern. So we're just going to be talking about some cool things that you can do with the deck and things that you need to know whether you're playing or playing against Boros Energy in Modern. We're going to start with some of the more obvious things, then move to kind of weird stuff. First off is Ocelot Pride is obviously great, but if you play it while you already have a Guide of Souls on the battlefield, you get to trigger Ocelot Pride at that end step that you play it because you gained life from Ocelot Pride itself entering the battlefield, the Guide of Souls. So sequencing the creatures that you play are pretty important. In addition, if the board is really gummed up, you can just play a Flage, have it lightning helix something, and then all of a sudden you've gained life and you get to trigger Ocelot Pride in your end step, even though you're unable to attack and unable to do that cool guide thing. Still speaking about Ocelot Pride reads at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, create a 1/1 white cat creature token. Then if you have the city's blessing, for each token you control that enter this turn, create a token that's a copy of it, which that counts for every single token, not just the Ocelot Pride token. That counts for the treasures from Regavan, the Ajani token, the Fable the Mirror Breaker token, the Seasoned Pyromancer elementals, all of that stuff. If you have the city's blessing, you get to double those tokens if they enter the battlefield during your turn. We have a lot of cards that allow us to have card selection by discarding cards like Fable the Mirror Breaker and Seasoned Pyromancer. And that's extra powerful beyond having card selection because it speeds up being able to escape Flage. And escaping Flage is this deck's, or one of this deck's end games. And sometimes we can do that as early as turn 4 with Seasoned Pyromancer and Fable the Mirror Breaker. Next up, if we have an Ajani Nattle Pariah out, it allows us to attack and block really liberally with our cats. Because if your opponent blocks either, one of the 1/1 cats from Ocelot Pride or one of the 2/1 cats from Ajani, then Ajani gets to flip into a very, very powerful planeswalker. So you need to be really careful if you're liberally attacking or blocking with cats, especially if they're like chump blocks or chump attacks, because they can just kill Ajani in response to the trigger and then you're out multiple cards for one of your opponent's cards. But it's still really relevant that it allows you to dictate the flow of the game in that way. And speaking about Ajani, Goblin Bombardment is absolutely absurd with Ajani. Obviously, it's great if we have a ton of tokens from Ocelot Pride, we can just fling them all at our opponent. But Goblin Bombardment plus Ajani allows us to not only be a sacrifice outlet for Ajani, because we can sacrifice a cat to deal that 1 damage and flip Ajani, but also it's a red permanent so that we deal damage off of Ajani's 0, which is so powerful. And then the last kind of relevant thing that I wanted to talk about is you don't need to pay energy with Galvanic Discharge. You can just have the 3 energy. So if you need to deal that little extra damage to your opponent and you have a Guide of Souls and you want to jump one of your creatures with the Guide of Souls to deal that 2 extra damage, you can just Galvanic Discharge, pay 0 energy, get that 3 energy rather than deal damage, and then just have that 3 energy. In addition, if you Galvanic Discharge something and your opponent pumps up the creature, you don't have to spend energy on it. You can just say, okay, pay 0 energy then. But those are some interesting tips and tricks I have for you for Boros Energy in Modern. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.